Section 1. The most disturbing part of this story isn't that someone came to my house. It's that they seemed to know exactly where I was the entire time. Even now, nearly a year later, I still think about one question that has never been answered. Who was Hector? At the time, I was a senior in high school. It was an ordinary weeknight, the kind that fades from memory almost immediately. Around 10 o'clock, I was sitting alone at the kitchen table, casually snapping a few friends and scrolling through stories. The house was quiet. My parents had already gone upstairs and gone to sleep. The only sounds were the hum of the refrigerator and the occasional tap of my thumb against my phone screen. Then a notification appeared. Snapchat from Hector. The name meant absolutely nothing to me. I stared at it for a moment. I didn't know anyone named Hector. Not a friend, not a classmate, not a relative. It felt strange, but not alarming. At first, I ignored it. My thinking was simple. If it was some random person, opening the snap might encourage them to start a conversation. So I left it unopened and continued doing whatever I had been doing. 30 minutes passed. The notification disappeared from my mind completely. Then another one appeared. Snapchat from Hector. This time curiosity won. I opened both snaps. The first image was almost completely black. It looked like it had been taken in a dark room. A face was barely visible somewhere in the frame, hidden by shadows and grainy image quality. I leaned closer to the screen. The picture revealed almost nothing, just enough to tell that someone was there, watching. The second image was taken outside. A road stretched into darkness beneath faint streetlights. The photo quality was terrible, but after staring at it for several seconds, I noticed an arm extending into the frame. The hand was pointing down the street, towards something, or someone. I typed a message. Who is this? The message showed as read almost instantly. No response, not a single word. A few seconds later, I noticed that Hector had added me. Against my better judgment, I added him back. His Snapchat score was only 5, practically a brand new account. Then I noticed something else. He had viewed every one of my Snapchat stories. Every single one. A chill crept up my neck. For the first time that night, I had the uncomfortable feeling that this wasn't random. Section 2. 5 minutes later, another notification appeared. Snapchat from Hector. I opened it immediately. This picture showed a residential street at night. At first, it looked ordinary. Then recognition hit me. I knew that street. I had walked down it hundreds of times. The realization arrived slowly, like a sinking feeling spreading through my stomach. The person taking the photo was only 2 blocks away from my house. I sat up straighter in my chair. The kitchen suddenly felt much quieter than before. Again, I typed the same question. Who is this? Read instantly. No reply. Nothing. That silence bothered me more than any answer could have. I convinced myself it had to be one of my friends. Maybe somebody made a throwaway account as a prank. That explanation made sense. At least it was the only explanation that made sense. I texted several friends. One by one, they denied it. Most of them thought it was hilarious. A few even asked me to send screenshots. Meanwhile, I was no longer laughing. Every new snap felt different from the last. More deliberate, more personal. Then a 4th notification appeared. I hesitated before opening it. My thumb hovered over the screen. Something inside me didn't want to know what the next picture contained. Finally, I tapped. The image loaded. My stomach dropped. The picture showed my block. Specifically, the corner near the old lamppost. A place visible from my neighborhood. A place less than a minute from my front door. Now I was genuinely unsettled. One of my closest friends lived 2 houses down. I called him and explained what was happening. To my relief, he came over almost immediately. He was a big guy, the kind of friend who made you feel safer simply by standing nearby. When he arrived, I showed him everything. Instead of fear, he burst out laughing. Bro, this is definitely somebody messing with you. I wanted to believe him. Really, I did. But something about the account felt wrong. The timing, the silence, the way every picture seemed to be getting closer. We sat together on the couch while the television played quietly in the background. Neither of us was really watching it. My phone rested on the coffee table between us. Every few seconds, our eyes drifted toward it. Waiting. The room felt strangely tense. Like we both knew another notification was coming. And eventually it did. The familiar Snapchat alert lit up the screen. My friend grinned. I felt my pulse quicken. Whatever game this person was playing, it wasn't over yet. Section 3. Take a screenshot this time, my friend said. I nodded. Then I opened the snap. The image appeared. For a second, neither of us spoke. The photo showed my house. Not the street. Not the neighborhood. My actual house. The picture had been taken from the front yard. Close enough to see details. Close enough that there was no possibility of coincidence. My friend immediately stopped smiling. We looked at each other. Then we both jumped off the couch. The front door flew open. Cool night air rushed inside. We stepped onto the porch and scanned the street. Nothing. No movement. No footsteps. No cars driving away. Just darkness. The neighborhood looked completely normal. That somehow made it worse. We hurried back inside long enough to put on shoes before heading out. The plan was simple. Find whoever was taking these pictures. My friend stayed near the front of the house while I moved toward the side yard leading to the backyard. The farther I walked, the more aware I became of every sound around me. The rustling leaves, the distant barking of a dog, the faint buzz of insects hidden in the darkness. Then my phone vibrated. Another snap. From Hector. My heart instantly started pounding. I opened it without stopping. The image loaded. I froze. The picture showed my back door. Not an old photo. Not a random picture from somewhere else. My back door, taken seconds earlier. The realization hit like a punch. Whoever this person was, they were in my backyard. At that exact moment, the gate leading into the yard stood a few feet ahead of me. I suddenly didn't want to open it alone. Come around back. I yelled to my friend. My voice sounded louder than intended. The neighborhood swallowed the sound. For a second, everything became silent. Then I pushed open the gate. The hinges creaked. The beam from a nearby security light stretched across part of the yard. And there, movement. A figure. Someone was already sprinting toward the opposite gate. I only caught a glimpse. Dark clothing. Fast. Much faster than I expected. There he is. I took off running. My friend came charging around the corner behind me. We burst through the yard and into the darkness beyond. The chase lasted only seconds. The streets were poorly lit. Shadows covered everything. Every corner looked identical. The person disappeared almost immediately. One moment we could hear footsteps. The next moment there was nothing. Just empty streets and darkness. Whoever Hector was, he knew the area well enough to vanish completely. Section 4. My friend and I searched for nearly 20 minutes. We checked side streets. We looked between houses. We listened for movement. Nothing. It was as if the person had dissolved into the night. Eventually, we returned to my house. Neither of us was laughing anymore. The situation had crossed the line from weird to genuinely unsettling. We sat in the living room discussing possibilities. Maybe it was still a prank. Maybe someone from another school. Maybe an old acquaintance. Every theory sounded weaker than the last. The biggest problem was simple. Why would someone go through this much effort? Why create a new account? Why refuse to speak? Why take photographs instead of sending messages? Most importantly, how did they know exactly where I lived? My friend stayed for another hour or two. The television remained on, but neither of us paid attention to it. Every vibration from a phone made us look up. Every sound outside made us glance toward the windows. Eventually, though, nothing else happened. The notifications stopped. The silence returned. Around midnight, my friend finally headed home. I locked the doors behind him and checked every window in the house. Twice, maybe 3 times. Only then did I go upstairs. Sleep didn't come easily. I kept imagining another notification appearing. Another photograph. Another sign that someone was outside. Every creak in the house sounded suspicious. Every shadow seemed darker than usual. I rolled over repeatedly, checking my phone whenever the screen lit up. Time passed. Eventually, exhaustion won. The darkness swallowed everything. The next thing I remember is waking up the following morning. Sunlight filtered through my bedroom window. For a few seconds, I forgot everything. Then I reached for my phone. 3 notifications waited on the lock screen. All from Hector. All sent during the night. A cold feeling settled in my chest. I stared at the notifications for several moments before opening them. Part of me didn't want to know. Part of me already knew. With shaking hands, I opened the first snap. Then the second. Then the third. Each one was worse than the last. Because every photo had been taken outside my house while I slept. Someone had returned. And this time, they had stayed longer. Section 5. The first photograph showed one side of the house. A window illuminated by faint light from inside. The second showed another window from a different angle. Whoever took the pictures had clearly walked around the property. Slowly, deliberately, documenting it. The third image was the one that stayed with me. The one I still remember most clearly. It showed my bedroom window. My bedroom. the room where I had been sleeping only hours earlier. I stared at the image for a long time, trying to understand it, trying to explain it away, but there was no explanation. Some stranger had been outside my house in the middle of the night while everyone inside was asleep, and he wanted me to know it. That seemed to be the entire point. Not theft, not conversation, not blackmail, just the knowledge that he had been there, watching. I blocked the account immediately. Then I reported everything to Snapchat. I emailed support, attached screenshots, explained the situation, and waited for a response. When the reply finally arrived, it felt like an automated template. A generic message thanking me for contacting them and assuring me they took safety concerns seriously. Nothing meaningful came from it. No answers, no identification, no follow-up. I even contacted them again later. The result was the same. Eventually, there was nowhere else to go with it. Life moved forward. Graduation came. Months passed. The account never contacted me again, but the questions never disappeared. For a long time, I tried convincing myself it had been somebody I knew. A friend, an acquaintance, someone from school. Yet every detail seemed to point elsewhere. The tiny glimpse of skin visible in the first dark photograph suggested the person was Hispanic. The name Hector certainly fit that assumption. The strange thing was that there weren't any Hispanic kids at my school. Not one. So if it wasn't somebody from my school, who was it? How did he find my Snapchat username? How did he know exactly where I lived? Why spend an entire night sending photographs instead of simply speaking? And why me? Nearly a year later, those questions remain unanswered. The account disappeared. The person vanished. No one ever claimed responsibility. No explanation ever surfaced. All I have left are a handful of screenshots, a memory of running through dark streets, and the unsettling certainty that somewhere out there is a person named Hector, or someone pretending to be Hector, who knew far more about me than I ever knew about him.